All right, so now we're going to talk about gift ideas.
I was spacing off that way anyway, so I was like, oh shit.
All right, composure. So now we're going to talk about gift ideas that are over $50, and I'm going to follow Anil around his shop, and we're going to give you some great ideas for that special fly fisher in your life, whether that person has been fly fishing for a long time or just getting started with fly fishing. We've got some really good gift ideas for over 50 bucks. All right, let's go take a look. Fish on.
All right, let's start right here. I mean, this is the most obvious place. Fly fishing rods. It's been a weird year. We actually have some in stock for now. And one of the really great things about selling fly rods right here where we do is these Sage rods are made a few miles from us this way, and these Loomis rods are made down south about 100 miles. And we've got some Berkheimer fly rods that are made down in the same area. So not only are these incredible, beautiful pieces of artwork and incredible tools, but they're made right here in Washington, most of our rods. So if you don't know exactly what to buy, you can always be a little bit sneaky and go take some pictures of your loved one's gear. Go take a picture of the end of their rod tubes. It'll tell you, even if it's all gibberish to you, we'll be able to decipher it and you go, look, these are the 3 rods he has. He says he wants to, or she says she wants to go steelhead fishing. You know, can I get her something for that?
That's a good idea.
It's a great way. You know, again, same thing. If you're gonna want to buy waders or boots, go take a picture of the size that they already have. And if you know, hey, he dropped some pounds, this is the size he's got, well, we can figure that out real easily for you. You gotta be a little sneaky though.
Perfect. So since we're on the subject of fly rods, so I would say these are probably, well, these could potentially be for people that are just getting into fly fishing. But if you're on a budget, you have some setups for what you would consider affordable, like super affordable options.
Setups, and actually right behind you,
that I just kicked.
I think almost every rod on here, I only see one rod I know of that is more than $200. So I think this butter stick comes in at mid-2s, but I think everything else on here is under $200. And you know, starting at 110 in fact, and going up from there. So,
and those are great rods. I mean, there's a misconception, I think, that people think that a fly rod's gonna cost you $1,000.
You know, it's a little bit, I think, like cars these days. There's so much competition, especially in the low end, that, you know, that I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you I wouldn't have the $1,000 rod sitting there if they were identical. But I'd also be lying to you if I said it was 10 times better than a $100 rod. So there's some great value to be had there. Right next to you here, we've got kits. If the person you're buying for is fairly new, doesn't have equipment, or has some really old, outdated equipment, these kits are $189. These are a little nicer at $350. These are right about $200. So there's a lot available right now in a kit. And then, as you can imagine, with those $100, $150 rods, we have some $50 to $100 reels. We can put something together that way as well.
Let's take a look at those reels.
Sure.
All right, so now we're gonna talk about some reels. And don't forget, right, if that special person has a fly rod or fly reel already, 1 is never enough. 2 is never enough. 5 is never enough. So you're never gonna go wrong buying another setup for that special person in your life, for sure. All right, let's take a look at some reels.
Perfect. You ready?
Action.
All right. Okay, so I talked over there about some ways to create your own combo. We have the Echo Base Reel. It's a very, as the name would indicate, a very basic reel, but it works very well, and we can outfit you with a fly line depending on the one you end up choosing. We can get the whole thing out the door for under $100. So if you have a rod already at home, again, try to take a picture of the handle of it or the case so we know what size it is. We can match the reel and the line to it. Now, if you want to get something a little bit nicer, of course, we can help you there. But there's some really cool stuff that's available for right about $100. And then if you spend more, of course, you can get some very cool stuff. This is again, similar to the rods. One of the neat things about this industry is this is a fully machined American-made reel. This one comes out of Idaho. This is an English-made reel, very different,
Very retro.
very retro, very modern, both about the same price, both fully machined. They haven't changed the design of this one since the 1930s, I believe.
Who makes that one?
This is a Hardy out of England, and when I say that, I mean you could take your grandpa's 1947 model and exchange the spools and they would work. And then this is a reel that's less than a year old, that's very high tech and very modern, and you know, there's really a reel for everybody. And the beauty is that most of them, this is one out of Colorado, most of them are made in America. So
Is that a Ross reel?
this is a Ross out of Colorado.
Love the Ross reels.
This is a beautiful reel. This is an Able. Used to be out of California. They're built in Colorado now too. Like I said, this is a Lamson out of Idaho. There's all sorts of cool stuff.
Very cool. And I think we talked earlier about fly lines, and I'll leave a card up there in the top of the screen if you have a lot of questions about fly lines. Anil and I talked a ton about fly lines in this video, but they can marry up, depending on what type of fishing that you're doing, any of these fly lines to any of those reels.
And again, it's super helpful if we know what rod it's going on. It's a little bit like matching tires to a car. So if you can tell us what model it's going to go on, we can do the rest from there.
I love the idea of taking the picture of the end of the rod too. It's smart.
Even if it doesn't mean anything to you, we ought to be able to figure it out fairly easily.
Perfect.